Hey everybody, it is Stork from Stork Plays Games, and I'm excited today to show you a new game coming out very soon from my friends at Fireside Games. That's right, it is Castle Panic. Wait a minute, I can't. Let me check my Castle. Yeah, Castle Panic. Hasn't this game been out forever? Castle Panic. This is Castle Panic 2nd Edition. Now you're probably saying, I've played Castle Panic. I've played it 100 times. I know you have because you all told me at Gen Con. Literally, all of you. Well, today I'm going to show you what's new in the 2nd Edition. But what you probably aren't familiar with is this. Crowns and Quests. Now I did get a preview party and got to go to this at Gen Con and play this, and let me tell you something. This is phenomenal. So let's hop in and see what's inside these two sort of new and really new boxes. Okay, you've all played Castle Panic before, so I'm going to go really fast and go through this. It is a tower defense game for 1 to 6 players. It is a cooperative. You're taking cards, you're sharing cards, you're trying to defeat these monsters that are coming out, and blah, 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 we're coming down and we're trying to knock down your walls. You have cool things that reinforce your walls. You have tar, there are boulders, there are all kinds of awesome things. Roll the die, where do the monsters go, blah, 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 we all know. So, this is what this looks like. You have the towers, you have the walls, you have the new die, which is very fancy. We have the reskinned art. Looks a lot like a Dragon's Lair old arcade game. Some more colorblind friendly. It's your same game in a much prettier package. So if you love the old one, you're gonna love the new one. So let's jump into Crowns and Quests, because that's what you're all excited to see. So we've got some leaflets like always. We've got our rule book. We've got some large cardboard tokens, or not tokens, cardboard pamphlets, leaflets. They're like giant cards. This is an in-game quest. I don't want to ruin these quests for you. So we'll probably just go over on a very high-level overview. You've got some abilities. So these are assigned to characters that you can get. New order of play cards, because there's a few more things that are added in. And then some extra stuff that has to do with the quest specific, like Volkar's Bursts, which is the quest that I played. So, let me tell you about my favorite aspect of this. Not only do you have the quests that you can go through and do, and make it into sort of a campaign mode, which you're going to love, you also have these numbers. Now, if you're familiar with the main game, as I'm sure that you are, again, as you all told me at Gen Con, we have 6 towers. And our goal is to defend those towers. And in the main game, some of those towers get knocked down. It always happens. You lose towers. Big deal. The goal of the game is to not lose every tower. So, when we start with Crowns and Quests, we can get these characters, and they all have special abilities. So we would get our special abilities, and then we would all talk, as it is a cooperative game, and we'd talk about what is our ability. But also, what we are going to get are these tokens. So everybody would be passed out one of these. I'm sure you can guess where I'm going now. So before we start the game, we're going to flip over our tokens, and we're all going to be assigned a tower. Now, why would you be assigned a tower in a cooperative game? Because everybody has a special ability, or a power, as I like to call it, and if you lose your tower, you lose your power. So, it makes it a little more interesting of what towers we have to protect and what towers we want to make sure we don't lose, because we definitely don't want to lose some people's powers. So, for example, once per turn, you may damage one monster in any color of any archer, knight, or swordsman ring for 1 point, no card needed. We may not want to lose Tower 4 because that's a pretty important power. So, it makes it a much more interesting, a much more team dynamic, and a little bit of, hey, I'm gonna let your tower die because my power's better. So I had a really fun time at the Castle Panic 2 launch party discussing with my group and the teams whose powers were most important and which ones did we want to make sure we didn't lose. That is probably one of my favorite things about this Crowns and Quests expansion. However, it has much more to offer, including these quests. And like I said, I don't want to ruin them for you, but you play the game as normal, and then there's different goals, different setups. It tells you playing the quests, like when you do them, and there's a bunch here. You can see this. So there's a bunch of stuff here. This one, there's knights, archers, swordsmen to it, so you have to assign different cards to it. There's all different types. And again, I'm not going to ruin it because it is fun, but I just want you to see like how many of these there are. There is so much offered in this tiny little box. You are going to love it. But I'm not stopping there. There's Castle Panic 2nd Edition coming out, Castle Panic Crowns and Quests coming out, and the deluxe editions. Check with Fireside's website and see about ordering that, or your local game store. But the deluxe edition, I got to preview some of the minis, 3D prototyped. So in the normal game, and I'll use this one as an example. So as they're coming down and you take a damage and it spins. Again, I know you know this because you told me at Gen Con. But the minis, the base spins. And the minis are just phenomenal. There's like hundreds and hundreds of minis in there. It's just such a gorgeous box. The box is gigantic. So I really plan on seeing all of you at Gen Con 2023 so you can tell me how much you appreciated my advice. I know you're going to be there to get 2nd Edition and Crowns and Quests. So thank you, Fireside, for giving me all this stuff to do this video. Thank you for keeping up with the Castle Panic fan club, as I know they are vast, wide, and huge because I was told at Gen Con. am joking about it, however, I do want to bring up, if you are an educator or starting a game club or just a family, I was told by many people how much they loved Castle Panic, how it got people into gaming, how so many game clubs were started at schools with Castle Panic. So if you haven't ever played the original Castle Panic, start with 2nd Edition. And if you have, brighten it up, get another one, or go all the way up to the deluxe models with the minis, the wood tokens, and get it all. So that's my advice. You heard it here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.